Now that we know about the Nintendo Switch Lite, is it still possible that we could see the Switch Pro come out this year? Well, according to the president of Nintendo of America, Doug Bowser, it's not. So I guess that's it. This video's over now. Thanks for watching. No, Charmander, I'm kidding. Of course, there's more to it than just that. Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart, and I'm just going to say it right from the get-go, because I don't want to mislead anyone. I don't think a Switch Pro is coming this year. But there are some things coming out that could suggest otherwise, so let's kind of go over all the details and try to come up with a fair conclusion here. Now, for starters, Doug Bowser, according to CNET, did say that there wouldn't be no other sort of revision for the Switch this year, meaning that there should not be any Switch Pro coming out this year. Officially speaking, that's what the official word is from Nintendo. But of course, when it comes to PR speak, you never really know, because sometimes things are said that don't actually turn out to be true. A lot of times, PR people come out and say things, and it's not actually true because they're not actually allowed to say the truth yet. So oftentimes, they straight up lie. Kind of a good example, within that same interview, the 3DS was said that it would still be something Nintendo would be focusing on, but they're not really focusing on it. Sure, they may be still selling systems, but they haven't published any games for this year on the 3DS. They haven't announced any, and they won't be. The 3DS is effectively dead, but they're probably going to sell it for a few more years. It has a large lineup to appease people who want to get that system. The point being is that just because Doug Bowser said there'd be no Switch Pro this year, it doesn't mean 100% that there won't be. But I would say because he said it's not coming, it's really likely that it's not coming. However, Emily Rogers, someone who has inside information, who's gotten a lot of things right, some things wrong, but a lot of things right, is indicating that there will be a revision coming this year. So she was asked, so you think the other model is still coming this year even though CNET said it isn't? She responds, sure, there's a revision coming this year to replace the OG Switch, and I'm expecting it to come in at least 2 colors. So some people have taken this to mean that she's saying that a Switch Pro is coming out this year. I'm not so sure about that, because we've also discovered recently that Nintendo has made a new FCC filing to change the CPU within the current Switch, meaning that they're going to change the hardware somewhat, but still keep the same serial number, still be the same box, same branding here, and they're just going to change some of the internals for the current Switch. I've heard from Brandon from What About Nintendo and others that right now, with the current chipset in the Switch, it's kind of more expensive to manufacture it. It makes more sense to use a newer model that Nvidia is actually making. And it may even be the same hardware that's in the Switch Lite. It's nothing major, but it is a bit of a hardware change that will technically be a revision, but I don't think Nintendo's going to be marketing it as a revision. They're not going to really want the mainstream audience to know about this. So then, could that revision be the revision that Emily Rogers is talking about? Well, she did say to replace the original Switch. However, she says it will get a few additional colors. Maybe Nintendo could come out with a few colors, a few new packages to spruce up a deal for a Nintendo Switch closer to holiday season. That is possible. We've never seen an actual color change for the Switch. We've just seen Joy-Cons. So I'm not quite sure what exactly is going to go on here. But I would say that she's referring to this revision that we're seeing from this FCC filing rather than a Switch Pro. Alright, so I actually had to add in this additional section right here since starting to edit this video because a few more comments have come out from Emily Rogers. She wanted to clarify that she does not think this Switch will be a silent revision. She's thinking this will be a Switch with enhanced components. From what she's heard, it will have an updated CPU, extra storage space, better battery life, and that Nintendo will make some sort of announcement about this, that they won't keep it low-key. She's not entirely sure if they will change the branding, but she does think it will have around the same price and that it is meant to replace the original Switch eventually. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that this doesn't change too much about what I'm saying, because I still think ultimately that this is going to be a subtle revision that Nintendo won't make too much of a big deal about. Maybe I'm wrong. That's why I'm putting out this information right here. This could be what Nintendo's planning on, and this may impact the possibility of a Switch Pro in the future, but I'm going to stick with my prediction and just assume that what she's talking about here is just a subtle revision that's not going to be that big of a deal. So then that begs the question, when we got these earlier reports from the Wall Street Journal indicated that we could be seeing 2 different Switches come out this year, did they mean this minorly revised Switch and the Switch Lite, or did they actually mean the Switch Pro? I'm going to say that with most of these reports, the narrative that was sort of playing out, the way they made it seem was that there was going to be a Switch Pro, not a low-key minor revision that is going to still be sold for the same price, have the same branding, be effectively the same system. These reports were indicating a new product line. So I'm going to say that these reports were probably wrong about it coming out this year. But again, like I said back when we first were talking about these reports when they first came out, when we're getting insider information about things that have not been officially announced yet, plans change, they're not quite sure when things will actually happen, or even if they will happen. So I do think the reports were true about a Switch Pro, I just don't think it's coming out this year. I mean, if you look at what's going on with this year with the Switch Lite, it makes sense. The Switch Lite is coming out this year to complement these games that historically have done well on the handheld systems for Nintendo. Pokemon Sword and Shield, Animal Crossing at the end of the fiscal year, Luigi's Mansion 3, Link's Awakening Remake. These are games that make sense for a handheld revision, which is why the Switch Lite is getting a focus this year. But next year, with the new generation upon us, with games like No More Heroes 3 and maybe Bayonetta 3 and maybe even Breath of the Wild 2, I think it makes sense for a Switch Pro to come out, especially because it'll be more than 3 years into the system's life cycle, which would be the right time, probably, to bring in a more updated version of the Switch. If you look at the way Nintendo's handled their handhelds, or the way Sony handled the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X with Microsoft, they waited more than 3 years into their console's life cycles. Fans probably would have felt slighted if they updated the system really soon into the life cycle. If we wait more than 3 years into the Switch's life cycle, I don't think there'll be too many fans that will be upset about a superior version out on the market. So I think next year is the right time to do it, especially because the Switch Lite is probably going to get quite a bit of a focus. Even with Animal Crossing coming out in March, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a new color for Animal Crossing in March as well. So I'm thinking that when we do see the Switch Pro, it will be after March, probably closer to summer, but maybe before we see the next generation systems from the competition, because Nintendo wants to showcase the power of the Switch with its games. So I'm thinking the Switch Pro will be revealed summertime, maybe before E3, just before E3 or at E3. And then at E3 they will showcase games with the Switch Pro's power so we could see them, including Breath of the Wild 2, because I think Breath of the Wild 2 will be a big showcase for Nintendo. They will want to look incredibly impressive, and it will be out by holiday season in time to help the Switch compete with the next generation systems. Now, if you don't agree about Breath of the Wild 2 coming out next year, I actually have a video just about that, with many points arguing that it will, or at least that it can. So check it out after this one. But I'm thinking, guys, that the Switch Pro is happening, and that we'll be seeing it summertime next year. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for listening and watching. This is AndresRestart, and I'll see you all really soon. Bye.